Hello there, everybody, and sorry I'm a little bit late, but welcome back to another movie Scream live stream. And this is a little bit unheard of because I think I've done 2 of these now in 5 days. I usually do one every couple of weeks, but yeah, we're on the live stream train here, right? As I like to call it on this channel, Live Scream. Yeah, I thought I was really clever coming up with that name. But today I'm joined by 2 guests. It's usually just the one guest, but I'm happy to have 2 on today, shake it up a little bit. And these are 2 very good friends of mine. So first, I'm just going to go to Jack from Bring Your Own Popcorn. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm all right. How are you?
Yeah, fine, mate. Thanks for coming along. Glad to have you here. We've got Alex Hampton, and he's just called Alex there, as you can see. And Alex, how are you, mate?
I'm very good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, all good, mate. All good. Thanks for coming along, having you both on. Now, I'm just going to quickly go to Alex because, Alex, you used to do YouTube, is that right? But people might get confused here why I haven't put your channel link underneath. You kind of stopped it all now, is that right?
Yeah, I used to do it, but other things sort of took over, really.
Okay, but you're just here for a chat anyway. We always talk movies in our daily group chat and stuff, so it's glad to have you here, mate, in video form. So Jack from Bring Your Own Popcorn, do you want to tell everyone about your channel, Jack? And by the way, everyone, Jack's channel will be down below in the description. Go and give him a subscription. It's a great channel. But what do you do over in your channel, Jack? Just let the viewers know.
I pretty much do anything movie related. I do movie reviews. I call my series First Time Watching. So I pick a film I've never seen before and review it on the channel. I'm currently very, very slowly working my way through the Alien films. I've been doing it on the channel for about a year now. I've got no excuse to why it's not done yet. I do unboxings. I just recently started a series where I watch a full franchise in 24 hours. And I've been really enjoying doing that. I've done Twilight and 50 Shades of Grey so far. It's not the best franchises in the world, but they made for quite funny videos. But yeah, that's pretty much what I do on my channel.
Yeah, so like I said, everyone, link down below to Jack's channel. Go and give him a subscription. You know, I'm sure you'll have a lot of fun over there. And you just hit 500, Jack, so congratulations on that, mate.
Thank you very much.
No worries. So basically, I always start off these live streams before we get into the comments of what we've been watching. So is there anything horror related that you guys have been watching, especially with it being October, lately, or in the last couple of months? So we'll go to you first, Jack. Is there anything you can think of that
I'm slowly working my way through the Friday the 13th movies, because 2 Halloweens ago or 2 Octobers ago I done the Nightmare on Elm Street films, and then last Halloween I done the Halloween films. So this year I was like, I'm going to tackle Friday the 13th, and I have to say I just watched part 8, and the franchise isn't connecting with me as much as Nightmare or Halloween did, but I'm having fun with some of them. I actually quite enjoyed part 8, I think more than some people. I had a bit of fun with that one, but some of them have been diabolically bad.
Yeah, I had a feeling we might talk a few of the popular horror franchises today, because I know you guys have been making your way through them the last year or 2 that I've been speaking to you anyway. So what about you, Alex? Is there anything you've been watching horror related lately, or?
Yeah. So I made a way through all the Friday the 13th, which was both fun and painful at the same time. And now I've started on the Nightmare on Elm Street. I've watched the first one, and hopefully we can get them done before the end of the month, but I'll have to see.
Yeah, no worries. I'm on my own here because you 2 have seen the Friday the 13th franchise, and I still haven't seen Friday the 13th 5 or 7 yet, which is just criminal. I'm 35 years old. I should have watched them by now, especially loving horror and stuff. But I've just watched the first one last week because it was Friday the 13th, wasn't it? And I've just got this urge to just go through them all now. I just need to sit down and watch them and just get it over with, really. I have seen a lot of them back in the day, and I remember having a bit of fun with them. But like Jack said, I think it probably is the weakest of the big 3, to be honest. But yeah, I was going to say, have you got anything planned for this Halloween? Are you going to be watching any horror movies on Halloween night? Is there any that you watch every year? What about you, Jack, first?
I always try and watch the original Halloween every year. I don't know if I'll get a chance to watch it this year. I hope I do. But I've not got any like real plans for Halloween. I just might end up doing loads of uni work because that's taking up all my time right now.
Yeah, no worries, mate. And what about you, Alex? You got anything planned for Halloween, or are you gonna any movies planned to watch that night?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna give Beetlejuice a rewatch. That's one that I always go back to on Halloween.
All right, we've got the second one coming next year, I believe. You looking forward
Yeah,
to that
yeah.
one?
Oh yeah,
Are you?
definitely.
What about you, Jack? Are you a fan of Beetlejuice?
Yeah, I only watched it for the first time a few months ago now, but I really enjoyed it. It was a great film, and I love Tim Burton, so I had no excuse to why I hadn't seen it before I did. But I'm looking forward to the second.
So, okay, well, I've got a few subjects to bring up here. Oh, sorry, I've just dropped my pen there. I've got a few subjects to bring up here today, but there is a couple of comments, so we'll just get to them, and then if we run out, we'll go to the some stuff to talk about, and then we'll get back to the comments and everything. So we've got Jake Talks Movies and Horror. Hello, Jake. Thanks for coming along, mate. Evening, fellas. Hope everyone is well. Yeah, all good, man. Yeah, thanks a lot. And did anyone pick up the new Exorcist set today? Is this the original Exorcist, or it's got to be, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's the original. It came out in kind of like a limited edition. It looks like a Bible, the set.
Mm.
It was £70. I was going to pick it up, but it was £70, so I didn't bother. I just got the standard 4K when it came out.
Right. Is it got Reagan on the front? Is that the artwork that I'm thinking of, where it's just like a picture of a demonic face, or is that something else?
I think that might have been a different. I think two kind of limited edition sets got released really, really close together. I think that was one of them.
Right. What about you, Alex? You got any plans to pick this one up, or did you pick it up?
I've just got the 4K, which I picked up earlier this month. Right now.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen that set, to be fair. But I'm intrigued to see what it looks like.
I think I'm the only person who hasn't picked The Exorcist up in 4K. I mean, I watched it a couple of weeks ago on the Blu-ray, and that's it. So, have you guys seen the film yet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on it? Because with The Exorcist, I always thought it was a little bit overrated. And the more I watched it over the years, the sort of slowly it got more better as it went on. But I thought this time I watched it, I can see the true masterpiece in it now. I can see why everyone fawns over it and think it's one of the greatest horrors ever. Are your thoughts the same as that, or are you kind of in the overrated, or do you actually think it's one of the greatest horror movies ever? What are your thoughts, Jack?
I watched it for the first time when I was probably far too young. I think the first time I saw the film was when I was 12, and simply because everyone said it was one of the greatest horror films ever made, I wanted to watch it. And I didn't like it or appreciate it much back then. This was the first time rewatching it since, and I've loved it. I thought it was fantastic. I truly saw the greatness in it, and like putting yourself back in 1973, I think it came out. You can see how shocking and horrific that film would have been when it came out.
Yeah, because I always think I think religion and stuff was really, it's still big, but I think it was just a lot more people into it back then, if you like. It's just, and I think it plays on people's faith, that film, doesn't it? I watched the video on Twitter, I think it was, someone shared it in 1973 when people were coming out to cinema in America and stuff, and they couldn't even talk. There's like this woman, she was nearly crying. She was like, when she spun her head around, I just couldn't believe it and stuff like that. So I can imagine, if I could rewind time, that'd be one movie I would go and see at the cinema, I suppose, in that time period. What about you, Alex? What are your thoughts on the film, mate?
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's a classic, isn't it? A horror classic.
Yeah. Any standout moments, or?
Probably when Reagan's starting to get possessed and she's got all the cuts and stuff, and then she's like swearing and stuff with these male demon voices. But I think that's very, iconic.
Yeah. The thing that got me this time was when, like, the headspin scene was always one to be, like, I just see people, like, in pop culture and stuff sort of mocking it and thinking, like, scary movie and stuff, they skit it, don't they? But that was the scariest moment in the entire film for me, because it's all about when that director falls down the stairs, isn't it? And you don't realize, they don't know if he's been pushed by Reagan, or he's actually fell down the stairs. And when she turns her head round and says, "Do you know what your daughter did?" It just proves that it was her all along who's pushed her down the stairs. So for me, that was the scariest moment, because people are actually dying because of Reagan and stuff like that. So that one got to me this time, I thought. But yeah, awesome film. Definitely got a lot more appreciation for it now anyway. What does the 4K look like, Jack?
It looks fantastic. It genuinely looks. I went to see it in the cinema. It was a 4K re-release, so I went with a couple of mates, and it genuinely looked incredible.
Right. What are your thoughts, Alex?
Yeah, it looks great. The 4K Blu-ray looks amazing.
Yeah. Good stuff. I've heard good things about it, but I've watched a couple of videos on it and stuff like that. I go to my local Asda all the time. It's always staring at me on the shelf, and it's hard for me to double dip because I own so many damn movies. But I'm tempted every time I see it. So we got Loopy here saying, "Hey, hello Loopy, thanks for coming along, my friend." And we got Tom saying, "Good evening, hello Tom, thanks for coming along once again, mate. Always keen to see you in the streams, really appreciate it." So we've got that's the end of the comments for now, but I'm sure we'll get a few more in a minute. I just want to, I'll go and ask, have you got any fun first time horror watches this year? So I don't know, how old are you two? How old are you, Jack?
I'm 19, almost 20.
Right, so I think, like you said, you've been watching Aliens and stuff for the first time. Is there any this year that you, like popular ones especially, that you might not have seen, or watched for the first time and really impressed that you can think of?
It wasn't a first time watch, but I recently rewatched it with my mate the other day, and it was the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And I watched it for the first time a few years ago, and I don't think I appreciated it as much as I definitely should have, because I watched it that time and I was genuinely, even though it was my second time watching it, I was genuinely terrified. It is such a terrifying film. And there's no jump scares. There's actually not a lot of like gore, but just the tension that the film manages to build, and then it kind of like erupts in that climax. It's just absolutely genius. So I watched that one the other day, but I've not watched many horror films this October, I have to admit.
Yeah, I think the scariest thing about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is just how real it is to me. I think that's the scariest thing about horror for me. It's not ghosts and entities and demons, it's people. And they're the scariest things for me. They're the ones I find more disturbing. I mean, I've always said you wouldn't be surprised if there was like a weird family in the middle of Texas killing people right now in the backs of Texas, would you? I mean, and it is based on a true story, so that to me is what makes that movie so amazing. So, Alex, you got any first time horror watches this year that really impressed you? Or maybe even from last year?
Bride of Chucky. I actually quite enjoyed that one. I watched that for the first time last month. Yeah, I did. It was definitely a lot better than Seed for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was quite enjoyable. That.
Any more?
Like I said, I watched through all the Friday the 13th, but the standout one for me was Part 4. That was so good. Such a good film. Yeah,
a lot of people think Part 4 is the best, don't they? I can't quite remember Part 4. I watched it years ago, like on VHS. I'm talking now. I really need to get to this Friday the 13th franchise. I'm quite ashamed of myself that I haven't got to it like all the way through, and my memory's a bit fuzzy with it. I remember Part 3. I know you're not a fan of that one, Jack, right?
No, that's my so far. Yeah.
I always like the little biker gang in it, to be honest.
Part 4 has been my favourite so far as well. Kind of that joint with the original, and also Part 6 was quite good, but Part 4 is the one that finished, and I was like, oh, that was genuinely pretty good. Yeah.
I remember Part 6 being a good one. Is that where he gets woken up by lightning?
Yeah, that's that one.
But don't in part 6 they sort of go into the little town at times and try and get the sheriff involved and stuff like that. They kind of go outside the camp at times.
Yep.
Yeah. Bride of Chucky, man. I think I prefer Seed, you know. I don't know. I just have a lot of fun with Seed, but I think if I went to cinema at the time and watched it, I would have been annoyed because it just goes way too horror comedy. But now time has passed, I can appreciate how fun it is, to be honest. Are you a fan of the Chucky franchise, Jack?
I've never seen a single one, and I'm quite ashamed because I own the box set, but I've not watched a single one yet.
Oh, it's nothing to be ashamed about at all, mate. But we've all got the movies we haven't seen. I just said that because I wrote a bloody horror channel, man. So I should have watched Friday the 13th, 5 and 7 by now. So we've got a few more comments here. Let's just. The original Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a masterpiece, Loopy says. You know what? It's my favorite horror movie of all time. I always give it 4.5 on Letterboxd. I don't think I've quite found that horror movie that's a 5 yet, but I'm very what's the word? I don't give many 5 stars out, to be honest. It's just the way I rate the films, but it's gonna really, really blow me away. But yeah, it is sort of a masterpiece. I think it just does everything right. It gets better every time I watch it. Been to the cinema to watch it. It was amazing. Would you consider this a masterpiece, Jack?
I was very close to giving it 5 stars, like you said. I was so close, but I gave it 4.5. I originally had it at a 3.5 on my letterbox and up to a 4.5 on this watch. So yeah, I definitely would say it's a masterpiece.
Yeah, I think it definitely grows on you because the very first time I ever watched it, I was just like, it was okay, but it's just grew on me over the years. One of my most watched movies, I think. What about you, Alex? What do you give it? What do you think is the masterpiece?
Yeah, it's very close to. I do need to get a rewatch. The last time I watched it, I gave it 4 stars on Letterboxd, so I do definitely want to give it another rewatch.
Have any two played the game that came out?
Yeah.
I couldn't get into it. Was it not from the same makers of the Friday the 13th game?
It was, mate. Yeah.
I preferred the Friday the 13th one, I have to say, but maybe I need to give it another go.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on it, Alex?
It's fun. I enjoy it, especially when you play as Leatherface. So fun.
I think I actually preferred going to Victims just because it was more scary, I thought, and you're on the edge. But I must admit, I kind of went into that game thinking, I think I'll play about 10 hours of this and probably go on. I never buy online games ever because it was the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I made an exception. So, okay, so there's a lot of atmosphere in the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre that just can't be replicated by the traditional big budget films. Yeah, it's lightning in a bottle, I think, isn't it? It just feels like you're there at times when you're watching that film. You can feel the heat, you can feel how sticky it is and how hot, how sweaty the characters are, I think. So, would you agree with that one, Jack?
Yeah, I think similar can be said for like the original Halloween. Like the fact that it is low budget almost like adds to the scariness of it. Again, like one of the things that a lot of the new ones are getting wrong is they're being a bit too glamorized and a bit too polished. Where I think you need that kind of dark, kind of gritty, low budget atmosphere to actually make it.
Yeah, like when you watch David Gordon Green's Halloween 2018, it's lovely to look at, visually a really nicely lit movie, but it just doesn't feel the same as the original. And I suppose that's just the way time moves on, I suppose, isn't it? But I don't think they could. Unless they were an indie filmmaker, I don't think they could actually go and make it like that now because I just don't think they get away with putting that on the cinema. I think they've got to move with the times. But yeah, it's like it's a decade captured in a bottle there, isn't it? Really. What do you think, Alex? Do you agree with that one?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, I think part of the magic of it is the fact that it was low budget and the fact that how gritty and stuff it looks.
Yeah, it kind of looks like a documentary at times, doesn't it? The grain and stuff just makes it, I think. Surprising. I thought the 4K was going to take that away, but it actually didn't. The 4K does look fantastic. So they've managed to keep that and make it look amazing at the same time. It's really great what Second Sight have done with that 4K. Did you guys pick that up, by the way?
The Texas Chainsaw Massacre one?
Yeah.
No, I didn't. I've not managed to get a hold of it. I really wanted the big box set of it, but I never managed to get it. But I'll probably pick up the standard 4K at some point.
Yeah. They've got the standard out now on HMV and stuff like that. Do you pick that one up, Alex?
I'm in the same boat as Jack. I really wanted that set, but I was a bit too slow, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, I hardly ever double dip, like I said before, but that was just one I had to get. I just had to get it. Tom says, "What's your favourite horror comedies?" You want to go first, Jack? I'll go last on this one. Sorry, one second.
I would say probably my favourite horror comedy is Shaun of the Dead. It's probably quite a normal pick. Like it's not breaking the barriers in any way, but yeah, I absolutely love Shaun of the Dead. I think it's hilarious and is one of the best parody films ever made.
Yeah, I watched that not long ago. Last year, I think this year, sorry. Me and my wife revisited the Cornetto trilogy, and Shaun of the Dead was a film that I never really liked that much when I first watched it. I think there was just a load of zombie films coming out at the one time, lots of horror comedy. I think it was 2008, was it, something like that? And
something like that, yeah.
Yeah, and this time it really grew on me. I thought it was great, to be honest. But I loved that whole Cornetto trilogy. I think I preferred Hop was the best, but Shaun of the Dead was second. That very, very close. I give them all the same rating, to be honest.
Yeah.
What about you? What about you, Alex? You got any favourite horror comedies out there?
There's one that came out this year called The Blackening. That was hilarious. I really like that one.
I want to watch that myself.
And then from a few years ago, Scary Movie 2. Right, I think that's just hilarious as well.
Yeah, I mean that guy with the hand is just unbelievably funny, isn't he? I think the first time I seen that dinner scene, I think that's the most I've ever laughed in a movie in my life. Like I could not breathe when he was just putting his hand in them potatoes and stuff. Some horror comedies for me. Oh, I think The Burbs is a good one. That's like one of my most rewatched movies ever. Horror comedies, yeah. I think The Burbs is the only one that's really coming to my head, but Shaun of the Dead is probably up there now after rewatching that. Yeah, it's kind of hard to think. I'll probably think of about 10 when I come off the camera. Yeah, I just have to go with The Burbs for now, Tom. But good question, man. I'll try and think of some more in a minute. Loopy's put same, bro. I think that might have been for one of our comments we answered. Tom says, best horror score theme. Recently rewatched Psycho and It Follows, which both have great music. I think Halloween 78 theme still is the best, though. What about that one, Jack? You got any there?
I would have to go Jaws as being the best horror theme. It's just incredibly iconic, isn't it? It's like one of the most iconic themes of all time. In terms of one that gets me excited, though, definitely the Halloween theme, especially in the later ones. You almost kind of want to like punch the air when you hear it. Like it's one of those. Such a good theme.
Yeah. I think the Jaws one's a really good pick because Steven Spielberg says that basically is 70% of the film, doesn't he? Like he said the movie makes as good as it does because of John Williams' score. What about you, Alex? You got any there?
Halloween, but I prefer I don't know if it's the same version, but the ones in the later films, Halloween Kills and that. I don't know if they did something with the music, but it sounds more, I don't know, modern, if that makes sense.
Bit more
like
upbeat.
The music. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's just like I was sitting in the cinema for Halloween Kills, and when Michael Myers is like getting beaten up by them people, oh my god, it's just like that music hits. It's like wow.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. It always hits the right moments as well, doesn't it? But it's once you see the opening intro on these films and then the music kicks in, you know you're in for the Halloween film, don't you? But what I like about the Halloween 78 score is basically like Jaws a little bit. It makes the movie at times because even if he just John Carpenter just uses snippets of it, like when the Tommy Doyle bumps into him. Oh no, sorry, it's the bully Lonnie at school, isn't it? Kind of bumps into Michael Myers at the school, and then the music just goes, you know, and then it just starts slowly going along. So I think John Carpenter uses snippets of it as well as it being a great theme tune. But yeah, I know what you mean. The ones in the later movies, they definitely feel a bit more upbeat and modern, like you said, and just fine tuned, if you like. I do think the original, it's hard to say that it's not the best because it is the original, but the later ones, I think, they've really done well to just recapture that and just move it along with the times a little bit, I think. I think for me, look, it's gotta be Halloween '78, but I think The Exorcist Tubular Bells is a really good one. I just wish they used it a little bit better in the Exorcist movie. I don't know if you guys agree with this, but when I was watching it, it's an iconic theme tune score. And the only time you really hear it is when Ellen Burstyn is just walking down the road 20 minutes into the movie. And I just wish they'd done what Jaws did, what Halloween did, and kind of just used it in parts of the movie. What do you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, when I watched it in the cinema, I was expecting it to play over the scene where the priest gets out the taxi. Like, it's such an iconic shot with the light, like, shining on stand out the house, and they just don't play the theme, and I was like, that's such an obvious place to play that piece of music. I totally agree with what you're saying. It feels quite like sporadic, like it's hardly in the film at all, really, and when it is in the film, it's not really during the tense scenes, it's more just people walking around.
Yeah, because I remember thinking it was in it quite a bit, but it's really just that one bit, really, and I think it plays at the end. But on the other hand, I will say some of the scary scenes don't have any score or any sound whatsoever. Where Reagan is sort of at the halfway point of turning into this demon. Sorry, my wife's just rattling crisps or something. I think that can actually make the scene where there's hardly any sound whatsoever, makes it more scary. But I do wish they'd used it in some other scenes as well. So kind of a balancing act, if you like. What do you think, Alex? Do you remember like when the music was used, or did you not notice it, or do you agree?
Yeah, I agree. It's used when she's walking down the street that once, and then it's never used again, is it? Maybe in the credits. But yeah, such an iconic piece of music, and it's played once in the film. It's crazy, isn't it?
Kind of feels a little bit wasted, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so good question, Tom. Best Chucky after the original is Cult. Well, I'm definitely going to have to disagree with that one because Cult is my least favourite one. I know you haven't seen this, Jack. Is that right?
Yeah.
And Alex, you're not up to date yet?
I've seen them all, mate. No.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry. I thought you said you were up to. Oh, sorry. That was Jack.
I've watched them.
That was Jack with Friday the 13th, wasn't it? Sorry. What are your thoughts on Cult, mate?
Yeah, it's all right. I much prefer Curse 2 and 1 though than over Cult.
Yeah, I think 2, Curse, and 1 are my favourites as well. To be honest, I actually when I ranked them last time, I think I had Curse second and the first one third. But yeah, I couldn't get into Cult, Tom. To be honest, I just didn't like all these Chuckies running around, all different Chuckies and stuff. It just didn't work for me at all. And he just robbed the kill out of Bride of Chucky with the glass falling on the bed. I was just like, he could have come up with a new kill. They just basically do the same one out of that movie. But each their own, man. I think you're the only person I know who said that, but that's fine. We're all different, aren't we? Watched Halloween for the first time the other night. Thoughts on the series after that? I'm thinking about doing a full binge of the series. Good question. I did actually want to talk about this franchise, seeing as it's October. What about you, Jack? What are your thoughts on the series of Halloween? The question: what are your thoughts on the series after Halloween? Yeah, what do you think? What are your thoughts on the franchise then?
I think I enjoy most of them. I definitely out with the original. The original's the best by no means. No sequel comes close to the original for me. But the ones that came close for me were, I really loved Halloween 4. I thought Halloween 4 was fantastic, and I really loved H20, Halloween 20 Years Later, which isn't a great title, but it's a great film, and it's kind of like the Scream kind of take on the franchise.
Yeah.
It's kind of changes up the tonality of it, and it's really good. And there are some stinkers, like I'm not a big fan of 5, 6, or Halloween, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, which I know you won't be happy to hear, Jordan. But
I recommended it to someone on Twitter the other day, and she went, "I'm finally gonna watch it because you go on about it so much." And then I just seen on the letterbox you give it 1.5. Sorry to interrupt you there, mate.
But most of them, after the original, I do think are pretty good films.
Yeah. So, would you recommend Loopy to binge this series?
Definitely. You won't regret it.
What about you, Alex? What are your thoughts on this franchise, mate?
Hit and miss for me. Halloween 1 obviously is a classic, but then you've got films like the second Rob Zombie film, which for me is a dumpster fire. Sorry, Jordan. But I quite like the new ones as well. The new trilogy, you know, Kills, Ends, and the Halloween 2018. I thought they were good. A lot of people don't like Ends, but I quite enjoyed it myself.
Yeah. What it is with I watched this franchise last year all the way through, and it was the first time I'd watched it like that, just one after the other. And I'd never seen Halloween 3. That was the first time watching me. But I just think I appreciated when the franchise done something different, because there's so many movies in that franchise that do the same thing. You got Halloween 2 kind of follows a similar formula, even though it's in the hospital. And then you've got Halloween 4, which is very similar. 5, 6 is a little bit different. Then you've got H2O, which is similar. Halloween 2018, Halloween. So when it's Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 comes along, even his first one's very similar, or Halloween Ends, that's when I was like, okay, this is something different. And maybe people see it differently when they were just a new one comes along, or maybe it's just me, maybe it's just my film taste. But every time they were doing something different for me, that's when I appreciated it a little bit more. So I just think that's why I loved Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. He didn't really give a damn. He just went and done his own thing. And Halloween Ends for me was just so welcome. I just when that opening happened and the music kicked in, I was like, we haven't even seen Michael Myers here. What's going on? So I didn't quite know where that movie was going, and I enjoyed the ride it took me on. But yeah, I agree with H2O. That's a weird name. Just water, isn't it?
Something that I can appreciate about Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, as much as I don't like the film, it is very original. Like, he could have very easily done a remake of the original Halloween 2, but he decided to do his own thing, and I commend him for that, because it would have been such an easy route to go down, to just set the film in a hospital again, Michael Myers walking around the hospital killing people, but he took this whole new route, and whilst that route doesn't work for me, it's still a new, interesting way to go.
Yeah, I totally agree, mate. I think with his original film, he was doing that for about half the movie, where it was like an origin story, and then he just basically carbon copied the first one. It's kind of like he got cold feet and thought, well, I can't upset the Halloween fans. But then in the second one, he just done his own thing, and that's what I appreciate about it. I love how brutal it is as well. I was thinking Halloween 4 for me was a good standout one. I just didn't like the mask. I think that's going to be the worst mask in the franchise. What are your thoughts on Halloween 3, by the way, lads? Because I didn't like that film, and I just see a lot of praise for it.
Yeah, I watched it with a friend who really likes it, like their favourite in the franchise. And it finished, and I just turned and I was like, "What the hell what did we just watch?" Like, that was a bad movie. So yeah, not a big fan of that one.
Yeah. What about you, Alex?
I haven't actually seen that one. I missed it. I skipped it because A few of my mates were like, "Oh, Michael isn't in it. You may as well skip it." So I skipped it. But perhaps I'll give it a watch at some point.
You might like it, mate. There's a lot of love for that movie that has just been gaining traction over the years, and I just didn't get it. I didn't like the main protagonist at all. I just thought he was this ultimate sleazeball, and it just didn't work for me at all. It was good ending and stuff. I'm not going to give any spoilers away. It's pretty dark, but it was just a bit of a boring movie for me. But each to their own. Each to their own. We've got Paul Tams here saying, "Heard the Exorcist Believer is coming to digital tomorrow. Yay." So I think he's being just a little bit sarcastic there. You two have seen this movie, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on it? What about you, Jack?
It was bad. I liked. I say liked. I thought the first half was okay. And I was like, right, it's going somewhere. They're doing something kind of new. And then the second half of the film just completely lost me. And it got to the point where there was the whole exorcism scene, which is the climax of the movie. It's meant to be this big, epic kind of scene. And I was just like, I couldn't care less about what's going on. So, yeah, it wasn't a great.
Yeah. What about you, Alex?
I liked it a little bit more than some people. I have some more problems with it. I didn't find any of the protagonists very likable, especially the rich family. I just found them very big-headed and like not very good. But there were some very creepy moments, especially when they're in the mental hospital and they're looking for the window and they're like, "Where's she gone?" She just pops up out of nowhere. Oh my gosh, that got me in the cinema. But yeah, same with I agree with Jack though. The exorcism at the end wasn't great. It was a bit of a letdown.
Yeah, I love slow burn horror movies these days. Like I still love the other ones, like Friday the 13th, Halloween, where it's just kill, kill, kill. I do love all that as well. But as I get older, I'm really appreciating the slow burn. But this one for me was just way too slow. Like it just took forever to get there, and I was just like, what is he trying to build here? And then the third act just goes like any other demonic possession movie for me. It was just like another generic movie that we get every few months. And for me, I don't think, like, I don't know what you guys think, but what do you think it felt like an Exorcist sequel? Or because apart from Ellen Burstyn coming on back, the small time that she has, and the Exorcist in the title, I don't think that felt like an Exorcist sequel.
Yeah, I agree with you. I thought the 10 minutes that Ellen Burstyn was in it, it felt like what David Gordon Green kind of captured with the 2018 Halloween. It was a similar kind of nostalgic kind of feel. But after that and before Ellen Burstyn's in it, it feels almost more like a Conjuring movie than an Exorcist movie.
Yeah. What about you, Alex? Do you felt like it was attached, or?
I agree. To be fair, I didn't think it was very attached. Of course, it was great to see Ellen Burstyn return, but she wasn't in it for long, was she? And then once she'd gone, that was it, pretty much. So
yeah. I don't even know if it was meant to be the same demon that had gone into it and stuff, because she noticed Ellen Burstyn, but then like it just didn't feel like the demon from the first. It was just such a huge disappointment for me, and it just feels like they had the wrong writers, the wrong filmmakers and everything to tackle this big epic masterpiece of a horror movie. I know Halloween, like Paul, who's in the comments, I was talking to him about, and he said Halloween's one thing. Even though Halloween is a beloved horror movie, it's a franchise that has just had so many iterations. That is one thing. Tackling The Exorcist is something else. But while we're on the subject of The Exorcist, have any of you actually seen The Exorcist 2?
No.
No.
Right. Easily the worst film I have ever seen in my life. Honestly, it's not even that bad that it's fun. It's just absolutely awful. I watched all 6 of them. I watched all 5 of them, and then I watched the new one. So I watched all 6 the last few months, and oh my god, that is easily the worst one.
Fun fact for you, Jordan. Do you know that Martin Scorsese prefers the second one to the original?
I have heard that. I have heard that one. Yeah, I just don't know how anyone can say that. Do you know what? I was reading all the little fun facts and stuff for my review, and when they'd actually done a screener for The Exorcist 2, people were getting so disappointed after like 30 minutes who been invited to see it, and all the filmmakers were in that cinema room, and someone stood up and said, the people who made this piece of crap are in this room now, and chased them down the street. I hope no one got hurt, but that was just kind of funny to me. Loopy says, which classic slasher killer would you rather be hunted by if you had to pick one? Good question. You think of any?
Question. I think out of all of them, I feel like I'd pick Michael Myers simply because he is just a guy. Like, I feel like with Freddy, who like haunts your dreams, or Jason, who's like a supernatural being, it's difficult. But with Michael Myers, he's almost like the same as you in a way. So I feel like there's more of a chance you could beat him. But that is a good question.
Yeah. He's just got superhuman strength though, hasn't he?
Yeah, that is true.
No, I know what you're saying there. I mean, if it's Freddy, he's coming in your dreams, man. You can't escape him when you're asleep and stuff. What about you, Alex?
I think I'd have to go for Ghostface because he's just a man like us. All you have to do is just outsmart him.
Be someone you know as well.
That's it, yeah.
Try and figure it out. I'm just going to go with Leprechaun if that counts. Because I feel like I could stand a chance against him. Warwick Davis. Yeah, or Chucky maybe. Just someone who's half my size, that'll do. Question. What's your best and worst horror subgenres? Tom says. Ooh, good question. Well, go on, Jack. Go on.
For me, I would say I much prefer like slashers to like paranormal stuff. Just like a personal preference. But I don't not like paranormal stuff. There are some great paranormal ghost stories out there. Like my favorite film of all time is The Shining, and you could argue that's a paranormal ghost story.
Yeah.
I would say maybe found footage horror films. There's a lot of crap in that genre, so I would probably say that's probably my least favorite. But I would say slasher is definitely my favorite.
Yeah. I actually really like the found footage, but I know it's a popular pick for the least favorite because there like you said, there is some crap out there. But I do think that can actually sort of. The realistic ones can really get to me sometimes in that found footage, but like the Poughkeepsie tapes. Have you heard of that film?
No.
So basically, it's just about this killer, and they've been after him for years after this girl gone missing, and the FBI go in his house and find all these videotapes that he's recorded of all these kidnapped victims that he's had over the years. And oh man, it's so creepy. I came downstairs to make me lad's bottle after I'd watched it because I've got to warm it up in the microwave, and I was looking over my shoulder, and I never get scared by films, but I was like, that was too real for me. It just made me skin crawl. What about you, Alex? What about your subgenres?
Well, I like a lot of films in each genre, to be honest, but I think my favourite has to be slasher, just because Scream is like one of my favourite films of all time. And then my least favourite, paranormal, just because there have been so many like mediocre, weak films in that franchise. However, I absolutely adore the first Paranormal Activity. I think it's incredible.
Yeah. Fair enough, mate. I think all the Paranormal Activities are well. The latest one wasn't Next of Kin. I didn't like that, but I was always watching that franchise and thinking, okay, this is going to be the one that's going to go on the downward spiral. And I was always quite surprised by them. I think it's quite a strong franchise, to be honest. But the first one's really good. Yeah, I love the second as well. I think slasher is my favourite genre. It always has been. That's what got me into horror, Nightmare on Elm Street and stuff. But I do like what I said before, you know, like the realistic human, if that is even one. If the human subgenre is even one. It's like humans carrying out these acts and stuff. But I'd say slasher is my favourite. Worst, I wouldn't say it's quite paranormal. I'd go more with the demonic possession one. Just because I hate it when these kids get possessed and stuff and they're just screaming like it happened in The Exorcist Believer and The Pope's Exorcist, which I don't know if you guys seen this year with Russell Crowe. And it's just some kid on the bed just screaming and throwing his arms everywhere. And that's not scary to me. So I'd probably go with demonic possession as the horror subgenre I like the least. But good question, Tom. Good question. So we've got Paul Tams here. By the way, Paul, thanks for coming along, mate. I didn't say that before, but thanks for coming along, mate. What would you lads like to see in the next Scream movie? And do you believe that these rumours that it will be set at Christmas? Yeah, I've heard that one. So are you fans of the Scream franchise?
Absolutely. Love the Scream movies.
Yeah. Okay, so what would you like from Scream 7 then, Jack? Sorry, I'll come to you second, Alex. I'm just working that way.
It's just okay. No, it's all right.
I'm very impressed with the Scream franchise because I feel like since when they announced the 5th one, I keep thinking there's no way they can keep these like original and fun because it's pretty much the same premise over and over again. But they just keep making them like fresh and original and doing new things with them and just playing on the whole kind of self-parody of them, like they're incredibly self-aware. For Scream 7, I'm honestly not sure what they could do. The same way I felt with Scream 6, like I don't actually know what you could do to keep it fresh, but I'm sure that they will come up with ideas to keep it fresh and keep them good. Mm-hmm. And I think setting it at Christmas would be a very, very interesting idea.
What about you then, Alex?
Well, the Scream franchise for me is definitely probably the most consistent slasher franchise out there. I don't think there's a terrible one. Scream 3 is obviously the weakest, but I agree with Jack. I think it'd be interesting to see where they go with 7, especially if it is set at Christmas and you know, whether Sydney will return. You know, who the killer will be. There's, you know, if they tease that it could potentially be our protagonist in 6 that's the killer this time. So it'll be interesting. Hopefully Stu comes back. That's what I want to see.
They definitely teased that in Scream 6, didn't he? Saying, you know, they're both sitting on the step and they're talking about horror rumours or whatever it was. And they say, oh, Stu's still alive. You know, do you believe that one? They're talking about conspiracies and stuff. That was sort of hinting that he's still alive to me. I would love to see him come back, even though it feels cheap. But I just love that character. I think he's the best character in the entire Scream franchise, to be honest. Setting in at Christmas, I don't know. I don't know if that's going to work. It'll be in, but that just then leads to Ghostface in space in a couple of more movies, doesn't it? I just don't know about that. What I always wanted from a Scream movie, and I said this before Scream 6, what I wanted is to know who the killer was from the very first scene. And all our characters sort of don't know who it is, but we do. So you're sort of shouting at the screen, telling them, you know, trying to warn them and stuff like that. And they've done that in Scream 6 at the very start, if you remember, where he was unmasked straight away. And I thought, okay, they're going with that idea. I can't believe it. And then he kind of just killed that idea off after the first opening. And after seeing that, I don't know if that would actually work now for an entire movie, even though I thought it was a good idea initially. Was that something you'd like to see, or are you glad they've just tested the idea now in Scream 6?
No, I think it's definitely a good idea. Like, it could be executed really well. But I feel like, for me anyway, the whole like point of a Scream film is you're trying to like work out who the killer is. Like, that's half the fun for me. And I've never gotten it right once. I've always been like, it's definitely them, and then it's totally been wrong. So they're always good at writing twists. So it would be definitely an interesting idea, though.
Yeah, I think maybe if you had one killer that we know and he's working with someone else and he's always on the phone to them or whatever, but we don't know who that is, I think that could be interesting. So you still got the guessing game going on. What about you, Alex?
Yeah, I agree. I think if it's executed properly, it could be a really nice idea. Especially like you said, having a second killer that's not seen on screen. It's,
Yeah.
we just know about the one. But yeah.
Yeah, because I think that is part of the whole Scream franchise, and the guessing game is part of the fun, isn't it? Would you like to see Neve Campbell come back, or are you happy that she's kind of gone now and you can continue with these legacy characters? I don't mean to say gone, but she just didn't appear in the last one, did she? But I kind of didn't miss her, to be honest, and I like these new characters. If they come back, it's fine with me. I can take it or leave it. What about you, Jack? Go first.
I feel like I'd be happy if she didn't come back. I feel like it was good to have her in 5 as kind of a jumping like from 4 to 5 kind of point. This kind of whole legacy thing. I would quite like to see Courtney Cox as kind of a recurring character, just because she was in 5 and she was in 6. To have her in 7 would be also quite nice. But the person that I missed the most in 6 was Dewey. I thought that his presence was missing, obviously, because what happened to him in 5. But I thought that his presence was a lot sadder not being in 6 than Neve Campbell's was.
Joe Dewey, right? I watched Scream 1, he's kind of a goofy character, but he's quite streamlined as well. You know, when you watch Scream 2, you can see where they got the idea of Doofy from in Scary Movie. He is just so different in Scream 2 than what he is to Scream 1. But then he kind of like he is in Scream 1 for the rest of the franchise. It's just kind of 2 where he's a little bit... He's kind of like Doofy, really. I don't know. But I was just watching it going, they definitely got the idea from this film. What about you, Alex? Would you like to see Neve Campbell come back, or are you not bothered?
I think it'd be nice if 7's the last one they do, then they could sort of do like it started with Sydney, it's going to end with Sydney sort of thing, and then. But obviously that would only work if 7 was the final one. But if it's going to make money, they're going to keep making them, aren't they? So I mean, it'd be nice, but if she didn't show up, then it wouldn't be the end of the world for me.
Yeah. I think I kind of take it or leave it, mate, to be honest. I don't think it'll be the last one, will it? I mean, they make too much money, don't they?
Yeah.
They don't know when to leave it alone, do they? Look, we've got Saw X and there's probably another one coming after. Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Because we got like 3 Scream movies, then we waited about 10 years, we got Scream 4. Then we kind of waited another 10 years, and then we've got 5, 6, and 7. It's kind of a weird kind of pattern, if you like. So we're talking outside of movies. Analog horror has a lot of unsettling content out there. Mascot horror is media dumpster. I don't quite know what you're talking about there, Loopy, my friend. Okay. He goes on to analog horror. I don't know what analog horror is, but mascot horror is a media dumpster. Do you know what he's talking about today, Jack, Alex?
No idea.
No idea.
Okay, well, he goes on to say, on the subject of mascot horror, thoughts on the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. So he's kind of meaning like horror icons that haven't been made into films yet. If you can clear that up for us, Loopy, let us know. But thoughts on the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, hype or disdain leading up to it, or thoughts if you've seen it. Are you guys going to see this one?
I don't think I will. I think I'll give it a miss. Just because I've never played any of the games, so I'm not connected to the franchise at all.
You seen the trailer?
Yeah, I saw it in the cinema for Exorcist, and it honestly had me laughing because it looked pretty dumb.
Fair enough, mate. What about you, Alex? Are you going to see this one?
Oh yeah, I'll go and see it. Yeah. I grew up with the first game. It was one me and my mates come over from school, and we'd be on our phones. We'd be like, "Oh right, let's play Five Nights at Freddy's." And it was a really scary game back in the day. So yeah, I'll give it a watch. It looks pretty interesting. How good it'll be, I don't know. Whether the execution will be there, we'll have to see. But yeah, it looks all right.
I've never played the game, mate. Is the game good? Yeah.
Yeah, it's got creepy vibes to it. Yeah,
Looks like a point and click game. Is that right?
Yeah, it's just basically a one buttoner. You just press one button pretty much, but it's pretty creepy.
It's mad the way they've made a film out of that, isn't it? Because I was watching like gameplay of it and I was like, what's happening here? Is this just in like one room or something? It looks really strange to me, but I might try and have to give it a go, to be honest, but I'm playing Spider-Man at the minute, so and the film's out this weekend and I am going to see it because my wife likes the look of it from the trailer, so plus we've got Limitless, so why not? But yeah, I think it looks fun. I didn't like Willy's Wonderland though, and that looks very similar to this movie, so we'll have to wait and see. Mascot horror is basically the subgenre of horror that was spun off from Five Nights at Freddy's, mainly in gaming, and there's a lot of shite in it. Do you know what he means there, Alex, after playing the game?
Not really. If he means like films inspired by games, then he could potentially be also talking about films like Slender Man that came out a few years ago. Because that started as a game, isn't it? But yeah, I'm assuming he means horror horror films based off video games.
Right. Sorry, Loopy. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm just not quite thinking what you mean there, but going on to say, analog horror is a genre of horror mainly seen on YouTube, sometimes in game, and takes the form of ARGs and web series. Generally, you might be familiar with the Backrooms. Any of you guys heard of the Backrooms?
Yeah, it's kind of like a internet like conspiracy theory about there being like, I don't know like the full like subtext behind it, but it's basically like this place where you can like almost like glitch out of like reality and you end up at the Backrooms. But I heard they're making a film about it. A24's like making a movie about the whole concept of it. But yeah, I didn't really know that was the term for it though, analog horror. I've never heard of that before.
You heard of this, Alex?
No, I haven't. The Backrooms, no idea.
The only thing I can think of that was horror on YouTube is like them videos the guys who made Talk to Me were making before they made that film. Yeah, it's nothing like that, no, Jeff.
No, it's more like how do I think about it? Like, if you like internet hoaxes almost, where like do you remember seeing that like picture of the woman with like the big eyes? I can't remember what her name was, but it went about the internet for a while. No.
I think I know what you mean. Yeah,
stuff like that have came out the internet, turning that kind of stuff into movies, I think is what he's talking about.
Right. Okay.
What wasn't Lights Out inspired by some off the internet that James Wan did? Because they did a short film of that, didn't they? They released first, didn't it? Yeah.
All right. This is kind of new to me, all this. So, sorry, Luby. I mean, Jack seems to know a lot more than me, and even Alex does as well. So, sorry about that, but I can't really comment too much on that. What's a sequel that you'd like that we haven't got yet? I'd like to see a sequel to Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. One question, Tom. Ooh, you got any of you guys got one?
I'm trying to think. I feel like every film gets a sequel these days, so I'm trying to think of one that's not actually got a sequel. I'd like to see. It wouldn't be a direct sequel, but I'd like to see a follow-on from Doctor Sleep, and kind of expand the Shining universe in some way, because I loved Doctor Sleep. I thought it was a fantastic sequel. So I'd love to see something like that. But that's all I can think of for now.
Alex looking at his films there, isn't he?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I'm looking for inspiration.
Maybe Stephen King will write another story to that, Jack, and we'll get another film. Who knows? I need to rewatch Doctor Sleep. It's been a while. I had a feeling that was going to come up today on the stream. It's about Doctor Sleep. I don't know why. Oh, that's a hard question. Yeah, because like you said, that you think everything gets a sequel these days. But the there's 4 Pet Sematary films. Oh God. Oh, I can't. Can you think of any, Alex?
Yeah. I'd like to. I wouldn't mind seeing a Don't Breathe 3 because I quite enjoyed the second one.
Yeah.
I don't know how they do that though, to be honest. But I'm literally scraping the bottom of the barrel for inspiration right now. I'm really having a hard time thinking of what I could say.
I'd quite like to see like they're not sequels, but kind of reimaginings of the old Universal monster movies, like how Lee Winnell done the new Invisible Man. To see more of that would be pretty cool. But then again, that's not a sequel. That's more of a remake.
I think they were going to try and do that with the Mummy with Tom Cruise, weren't they? And it just fell flat on its face or something.
Yeah. I saw that movie. It wasn't great.
The Invisible Man's really good though, isn't it? I love that film.
Yeah, it's a great film.
Yeah.
How about a sequel to Midsummer where have you guys seen Midsummer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where we go back and see how Florence Pugh's running things there.
Oh.
That's all I can think of, to be honest. I know that's a terrible idea, by the way. Oh, Tom, you've got me on the spot, mate. I'm really sorry. Just trying to think of some of my, like I'd say a sequel to Train to Busan, but we've had one. Tell you what, I watched a film called The Sadness, an Asian horror movie from 2021, and it was absolutely unbelievable. I loved it. Absolutely just over the top, intense, fast paced movie, and I love a sequel to that because that is some of the best horror stuff I've ever seen. So I go with The Sadness. You guys seen that?
No.
No.
Heard of it.
Oh, definitely worth it. It's kind of like everyone in the town's going crazy because this virus has broke out. Obviously, you've seen and heard that story before, but they're just turning into the worst type of people ever, and they're just attacking other people. And there's a sequence on a train where it's just so much blood and gore. Oh, it's an amazing movie. I'd love to get that on 4K at some point. It's all good. I know you guys are just more specialized in films, which makes sense. I kind of forget how niche some of this stuff is. Yeah, like I said, I just hadn't really even heard of it, Luffy, I'm afraid, mate. But I'm glad Jack could give us some light on it. I'm planning to rewatch Doctor Sleep. Oh, it's come up again. Soon as I haven't seen the director's cut yet and heard that's better. Have you guys, which cut have you seen? And have you seen both of them, or?
I've seen both cuts, and I much prefer the director's cut. I think it gives you a lot more. I actually wouldn't watch the film. I wouldn't watch the theatrical cut now that I've seen the director's cut. It is 3 hours, so it's hefty. Mm-hmm. It's brilliant.
Yeah, like I said, I've got the urge to rewatch this film. I've got the 4K upstairs. I think the director's cut is on there. Is that right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll definitely watch that version if we go back to it. What about you, Alex?
Yeah, I've only seen the director's cut. I missed this one in the cinema, unfortunately. And when I did watch the director's cut, I was just blown away of how good it was. I wasn't expecting it to be that good. It was obviously it's not as good as The Shining because that's a great film, but it was very, very close. And I thought Ewan McGregor did a great job with his character.
It's crazy, isn't it? How Stephen King just comes up with these stories like a sequel to The Shining about a traveling circus folk sucking the shining out of kids. It's like, how did you come up with that, man? It's just a brilliant idea, isn't it? I think Stephen King's genius, to be honest. While we're on the subject, you got any favourite Stephen King films?
For me, The Shining, Doctor Sleep, like we just said, Misery, absolutely adore.
Mm-hmm.
And pick one more. An underrated one for me is 1408, the one with I think it's Samuel Jackson and John Cusack, I believe.
Yeah.
I thought that film was brilliant.
When I said I didn't give horrors 5 stars, I did actually give Misery a 5-star. I just don't know if it's horror or thriller. I'm kind of like that with it. I don't know, but I think that film is pretty much perfect, to be honest.
Yeah.
All right. What about you, Alex? You got any favourite Stephen King movies? Good picks there, Jack, by the way.
It 2017 for me is great. The Shining, Shawshank Redemption, not the Green Mile. Stand By Me is good as well, and of course Misery. Misery is great also. I do want to watch some of his other films though. I need to watch Carrie. I need to watch Cujo. I need to watch Pet Sematary. So there is a few of his classics I do need to get to.
I rewatched Pet Sematary not a couple of weeks ago, and you know what, man, that film is dark. There's some really heavy stuff going on in that film. Like I just totally forgot how creepy and I wouldn't say scary, but I was like, oh my, some things didn't sit right with me, put it that way, in that film. It's definitely worth a watch, man. So we got, what about a sequel to The Wicker Man? Ewan Keane says, God knows how that will pan out. You guys seen The Wicker Man?
I haven't. Actually.
No.
Both of you not seen it?
No.
No.
Fair enough. I wasn't massive on The Wicker Man. I loved the last 10 minutes, but me and my wife watched it together, and we just both agreed that I didn't get the big fuss about it. But again, it's considered a cult classic, isn't it, in the horror genre? So maybe on rewatch, I'll change my mind a little bit there. So just got to the end of the comments there, so I'll just bring a few things up that I've got here. So I haven't even asked, like, what are actually, like, if you could pick a top 5 or a top 3 favourite horror movies ever?
Oh, that's a good question. I would say, let's do a top 5. We'll go, The Shining is my favourite horror film ever made. It's been for years. I think it's just fantastic. Jaws, for me, a lot of people say it's not a horror film, but I think simply because when I watched it for the first time, I was genuinely scared to go in the water. It had like an effect on my life that it definitely counts as a horror film. I love the first Saw. I'm a massive fan of the Saw franchise, unashamedly. So I love the first one. The first one's my favourite. The first Scream movie, definitely up there for me, and probably original Halloween, probably my top 5.
That's a solid top 5, that, my friend. Yeah, I think I can always say Misery might be thriller horror. I don't quite know, but I think Jaws is definitely horror. I mean, it was making an entire population of countries scared to go in the water in the summer. That's got to be a horror movie, man. And I had a similar thing with Final Destination. Like, I'm terrified of planes now because of that damn film. Every time I go get in a plane, I think of it. So that's kind of got a similar effect on me than Jaws had to you. So, yeah. What is about The Shining that you love, Jack? Like, why is that your favourite horror movie?
I guess, first of all, like, Jack Nicholson's performance is just one of the greatest performances in a film ever. To slowly just watch him like go insane is just he's so brilliant. And I just love the kind of slow burn nature of the film. It's not scared to take things quite slowly. Like, not a lot happens in the first 20-25 minutes. They're just kind of walking around this hotel, but it builds the atmosphere just incredibly well. And in terms of scariest scenes of all time, the scene where Jack sees the old lady in the bathtub freaked me out. that scene is terrifying.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's very hard for me to get scared by films these days, but when I watched that for the first time back in the day, man, yeah, that scene scared the shit out of me. Do you know what else I always thought was scary in that film? You know, like the blood's coming down the elevator and stuff, and then the screen. I was watching it in the dark because that's how I used to try and watch horror movies. The first time I watched it, I think that happened, and then the screen went black, and it just said Tuesday, and I was like, I couldn't see a damn thing in the room. And I was like, that is so effective. I think it's got great music and everything as well, hasn't it? Like, just the eerie backbone chill of a score that it's got. Them twins are terrifying as well, aren't they? Every time
and another thing I feel like it's good at is it doesn't rely on jump scares. Like a lot of horror films these days, it's just so incredibly jump scare heavy. But I feel like there's maybe one or two in The Shining, if even that, and it's still absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, a lot of it's about the visual and the way he's directed it, isn't it? You know what else? It didn't really freak me out, but the first time I watched it, that score happens. What I just talked about, and it's when Danny's looking at the cook, the maintenance guy, and he just goes, "How would you like some ice cream, Doc?" But he talks through his mind, and I was like, "Oh, what's going on here? This is weird." So it's just a great story, well directed by Stanley Kubrick. He definitely made that film what it is. But Stephen King didn't even like it, did he? Which is just mad to me. But I haven't really read. I've read a bit of the novel and really need to go back and read that, or even audiobook it, because I've heard it's very, very different. And the miniseries apparently is more true to the book. So, you not seen the miniseries?
I have seen the miniseries, and I thought that it was okay. It wasn't as bad as a lot of people say it is, but it was absolutely nothing on the film. Like it was incredibly inferior, the movie.
Fair enough. I want to get to it. Mike from Cinema Axeman, I don't know if you heard of his channel, he actually prefers the miniseries over the film, so it's just one of them. I need to give a go, I suppose. So what about you, Alex? Can you think of a top 5 horror movies? I've seen you looking around your films then.
I've got some. I'll just throw them in, no particular order. Paranormal Activity, the first one, has to be in there for me. Alien has to be in there for me.
Yeah.
Halloween has to be in there for me as well. Shining has to be up there. And what else should we go with? We'll throw Texas Chainsaw. No, actually, we'll throw Saw in there. The original Saw film. Classic.
Yeah, Saw is brilliant, isn't it? After seeing Saw X, and I'm guessing you've both seen the whole franchise.
Yeah.
Do
you still think Saw 1 is the best?
Yeah, for me, yes, but very marginally, because I really love Saw X. For me, it was 4.5 stars. I know it's controversial, but I really enjoyed that film.
Yeah, because while we're on the subject, I was going to say, did you like what they did with, like, try not to give spoilers away for people who haven't seen it, but I know it's hard, but did you like what they did with John Kramer in that one? Did you resonate with him a little bit? Did you get attached to him? Because I was like, I'd heard that people sort of feel sympathy for him going into this film, and I thought, I can't do that to this guy. I mean, the amount of people he's going to kill in the future, from what I've seen in these movies, and there was just no way I could resist it. I was just totally on his side. Were you two like that?
Yeah, a little bit. I felt like what the filmmakers done was quite smart, because it almost made the film a bit more personal feeling than any of the other ones. Like if Jigsaw, like in the other movies, like a guy, I don't know, sells drugs or something and then wakes up in this trap. But in this one, he's like actually done something specific to John Kramer. And I did feel myself sympathizing with him, which we definitely shouldn't, because he's a cold-hearted murderer.
Yeah. I mean, he says he doesn't kill people and stuff, but he definitely does. What about you, Alex? Did you feel for the bit John Kramer in this?
Yeah, definitely. I thought, first of all, I'd just like to say Tobin Bell's performance was amazing. So good. Thought he did incredible. And for an actor that's 8 years old and he can pull off performances like that, it just shows how much he cares about the role, doesn't it? But yeah, you definitely get behind him to a degree.
I must admit, I just thought the the woman, like all the characters he's got in these traps in this film are just the most awful people. But I think the main woman who kind of is the leader of them, I forgot her name. Is it? Oh, what's her name? I forgot her name. Cassandra, whatever her name is. She might be one of the most vile horror movie characters I have ever seen. I hated her guts. I just wanted her to die a slow, painful death, and I couldn't wait for her to get in one of the traps without giving spoilers away or anything. What happens at the end? Did you think that? Did you think she was just? Did you just hate this character? She's like, you know what? She reminded me of the Queen on Game of Thrones. Do you know, Lena Headey's character?
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, she was on that level for me of how much I could not stand her.
Yeah, definitely. And I think because you are more on Jigsaw's side from the start, when things happen in the movie which I'll not give away, it makes you even more like angry at her to think that she's maybe like almost upstaged Jigsaw in a way, and you're like, no, you haven't. Jigsaw is definitely in control of this situation.
Yeah.
I didn't like her character at all. I thought she was really, really annoying and pretty evil.
Yeah. What do you reckon, Alex?
Yeah, I didn't like her one bit. The whole film, you're like, oh, you're such a nasty person. And what I found as well, especially when we get into that second half of the film, you're just like, come on, give it, put her in the trap, go on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely very evil, and I'm looking forward to see where the franchise goes next. To be fair, I wonder if they'll do another one after this one.
I think they've definitely sort of set it up to do another one. I think, and I'm interested to see it. It's probably the most surprising film of the year for me because I just expected nothing from it. To be honest, just the way, like, I do like the Saw films, but the way they've just gone over the years, it just felt like there was nothing left, and it just absolutely breathed new life into it, I thought. So we've got Tom saying, what's the best version of The Shining to watch? Been years since I've seen it. I don't even know which cut I saw originally. Do you know what? I think I've only ever seen one cut of this film. It was only a couple of years ago I found out there was two cuts. So
yeah,
I think I've only seen the one cut.
I've seen both cuts of the movie, and the differences between them are that there aren't a lot. I think there's only like 10 minutes or something between the cuts. But I'd go for the longer cut of the film simply because you're getting more Shining. Like, you're getting more of the movie to watch. So why wouldn't you do that? Because it's a fantastic film.
Yeah. I usually go for that all the time. If I see it on the menu, I usually go for the director's cut or whatever, because it just feels like it's the best way to go, doesn't it? But I watched The Exorcist 3 not long ago, and everyone online was saying, no, go with the theatrical cut first on this rare occasion, so I did. But most of the time, I do go with like the directed or extended cut, I suppose. Have you seen both versions of this, Alex?
No, just the theatrical version myself, but it's still an amazing film. I don't know if there's much of a difference, like Jack said. He said there's 10 minutes, so I'm not sure what's in there in that 10 minutes.
Right. Fair enough. We've got James from Moviebug here saying, hi guys, hope you're all well. Hello James, thanks for coming along, mate. Can't stay unfortunately, but I just finished Magnolia. What an incredible film, perfect I'd say. Have you seen it? I have. A long time ago. It's a very strange film, to be honest. I'd have to give it another go, but I remember it being very, very long as well. There's some interesting stories in it because there's a lot of stories going on, but some are more interesting than others. But yeah, it was fine. I'd need to rewatch it. I was about 15 when I watched that, mate, to be honest. You guys seen that? I know it's not really a horror question, but we'll just answer it anyway.
I haven't seen it. I've got it in the collection, but I haven't seen it yet.
You, Alex?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
Well, I think James is a fan anyway. Thanks for coming along, James, mate. Hope you're well. Tom says, I can't be asked to watch the rest of the Saw sequels. Didn't really like 2, 3, or 4, so just going to skip the rest and go to Saw X, I think. Well, if you didn't like Saw 2, mate, I mean, I think that's the best sequel still, even after Saw X. I'd probably put Saw X third best after 1. 2, after 1 and 2. 6 was quite a surprise for me. I quite enjoyed that one, but yeah, if it's not really for you, mate, then you might be best going to Saw X. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the first one's the best, and then the second one, and then I think probably Saw X, and then Saw 6. But I also really like Saw 3. I feel like the original trilogy is quite a perfect little trilogy of films, and if they'd left it at the end of 3, I would have been more than satisfied.
Yeah. I think 4 and 5 and Jigsaw and stuff, there are some bad ones in there, I think. I don't know where Alex is gone.
No idea.
Just check. He's not in the back. I think he... Oh, well, we'll hopefully get him back in a minute, but we'll probably just go for a little bit longer, guys, because we are getting to the end of the comments and stuff. Is that okay with you, Jeff? You just
no worries.
So, basically wrote down 2023 best and worst. So, what would you say is the best from this year and the worst that you've seen? If you could pick maybe 3 from each one, if you've seen that many, I don't know how many you've seen. Like,
in terms of any film or just
horror? Just horror if you can, just horror mainly. I think we've got Alex again here. Here we go.
Let's have a look at my Letterboxd.
Sorry about that. I lost connection.
It's all good.
All right, mate. So I've just asked Jack basically what his favourite and least favourite horror movies are from this year. So maybe if you just give a couple or 3 for each one. But Jack's still looking at his letterbox. Go on, Jack.
I've not seen many horror films from this year, but my favourite was probably Scream 6. At the start of the year, I thought that was really good. I didn't like it as much as I did on a rewatch. I thought a rewatch really elevated the movie for me, and I appreciated a lot more that was in it. As we were talking about Saw X, I really enjoyed as well. And then the only other 2, well, The Exorcist Believer, as we said, we didn't enjoy. But my least favourite film of the year, I guess you could say, is kind of horror. And that's Beau is Afraid by Ari Aster. Yeah,
I thought you were going to say something else. Sorry. Go on.
Sorry. I wasn't a fan of Beau is Afraid at all. And it wasn't necessarily horror, but there was definitely horror elements to it. I thought the film was so incredibly pretentious. It was unreal.
Yeah, I think the first hour of Beau is Afraid, I was like, this could be my film of the year. And then it just went straight down a cliff and fell off. I was like, what the hell happened there? Did you like the first hour, Jack? Was it just me?
I enjoyed up until, because of that whole segment where he's kind of in like a misery situation. He's like being held at these people's house. I thought that segment was really good. And then it's kind of after that where he goes and meets like the traveling actors in the forest, that I thought the film started to go downhill. Yeah. It really started to lose me.
Yeah, I agree. And yeah, I agree. I don't know if it is a horror film, but there's definitely horror elements in there, I suppose. The third act, man, what the hell was going on? I mean, we don't want to give spoilers away, but I think one moment I might be referring to.
Yeah, I've got an idea.
Yeah. What about you then, Alex? You got any favourites from this year and least favourites?
Yeah, I can think of 3 top of my head. Talk to Me, that's one of them.
Yeah, really good one.
That was great. Scream 6 and Saw X.
And have you got any least favourites?
Insidious, The Red Door. I didn't like that. Right. Would you count Cocaine Bear as horror? Or would you count that more of like comedy?
I don't know. Probably action comedy, maybe.
Yeah. I didn't like Insidious. I thought that was a bit of a letdown, to be honest.
I didn't mind Insidious, but it was like the characters are trying to find out things in the movie because they've forgot everything, and we already know the answer. So that kind of didn't work for me. And I thought Dalton was a little bit of an unlikable character, I've got to be honest. I'm surprised no one said Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. Am I the only one who's seen that?
Oh, fucking hell, that was shit.
That's what I thought you were going to say before, Jack, when you were saying you win.
No, I've not seen it yet, and I'm not planning on watching it anytime soon.
I definitely didn't hate it as much as everyone else, but it's not a very good film, to be honest. It's kind of brutal in places, but yeah, it's just not very good. I was just getting my letterbox list up here, but I think my favorite horror movie from this year is Infinity Pool. It's actually my #1 movie of the year. You guys seen that one?
I haven't.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Were you a fan, Alex?
Oh, it was great, mate. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I was just watching it going, wow. I like it when it's original and a fresh concept and stuff, and it just totally worked for me. And Mia Goth is just fantastic in that film. You planning on watching that one, Jeff?
Yeah, it's been on my radar for a little bit. I need to check it out. I've heard nothing but good things. So
yeah. What was you going to say, Dan, Alex? You going to?
I was just going to say, Pearl was also a good shout for this year as well. I thought that was good.
Yeah. I mean, I've got it in last year's ranking because I'm sorry, everyone, I did pirate it because I was just waiting so long for that movie. And I was like, okay, we're getting it 6 months later. On this occasion, I might just watch it online. Not something I always do, but that time I did. Because, I mean, that was just a bit of a joke, waiting 7 months for the rest of the world, I think. Got Scream 6 in there as my second. Evil Dead Rise. That was a good one.
Yeah, that was good, yeah.
And I've got Knock at the Cabin in there. Do you guys like that one?
It was all right. Yeah, it was all right. It went in a direction that I didn't expect it to go in. For me, he caught me completely off guard, which I quite liked. But you know, M. Night Shyamalan is quite, I don't know, he's a bit of a sort of like this, and with his films, some are good, some are bad. So yeah, it was all right. I enjoyed it.
What about you, Jack? You not seen that one?
I haven't, but I did hear that it was probably one of the best M. Night Shyamalan movies that he's done in a good few years, because the last one he done was Old, the one set on the beach.
Yeah.
And that film was a bit of a mess. So I did hear that it was better than that. But yeah, I've not watched it yet.
Yeah, I thought it was good, and then me and my wife just kept talking about it afterwards, and I was like, that was actually really good, wasn't it? And the more we spoke about it, the more we appreciated it. I think it was one of them where it took a bit of time to really think how good it actually was afterwards. And the next day I was still thinking about it. I think what Shyamalan does well, he done it with Signs, is something big is happening, but we stay contained in the one place, if you get me. Like, I just think he does that really well. He creates an atmosphere within when there's something on a huge scale happening elsewhere. Don't want to give too much away, that's it. But I just think he does that really well, to be honest. I've got it in me where She Came from the Woods. Don't know, you guys have seen that one?
No.
Pope's Exorcist is in there. I've got 65 if you want to include that. Did you guys see that, the dinosaur one?
No.
I did. I wasn't a fan.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty poor. And I've got the Black Demon in there, which is a megalodon shark film that isn't called The Meg 2. Yeah, we got 2 of them this year. Okay, guys, well, we'll just sort of get to the end now. I'll just finish on this question, really, if that's okay with you, because we are at the end of the comments and we're 1 hour and 30 in. Is that okay?
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah.
Sorry, there isn't more comments, guys, but it is a fairly new channel, I suppose. For future horror, is there anything you're looking forward to coming maybe the rest of this year and in 2024?
That is a good question. I'm going to need to Google what horror movies are coming out.
I can think of a few. Maxine. I'm looking forward to that. The third film in that trilogy. I'm looking forward to Beetlejuice 2. And then I don't know when Scream 7 will be coming out. If it does next year, then that will obviously be up there as well.
Next Christmas, Alex?
Who knows? Yeah.
No, I think it is meant to be coming out next December, and the rumours are that it is based around Christmas. So that's why they're
There we
kind
go.
of bringing it out then. While Jack's looking, I'll just go with Maxine, definitely. Can't wait for that. I'm looking forward to Thanksgiving. That's coming in November. You guys seen the trailer for that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, looks like a really good slasher, that one. And the guy off Hostels in it, you know, the little weirdo who doesn't know whether to kill that girl and torture it, or doesn't know whether to just shoot it. He's in it. So I'm sure he'll have something to do with the horror side. Who knows? I'm actually looking forward to Five Nights at Freddy's next week, even though it could be terrible. What else we got coming? Scream 7, of course. I can't really think of too many more. I'm sure there's another one.
Isn't someone doing a remake of Nosferatu, the vampire one?
Yeah. Nosferatu. Yeah. Robert Eggers is doing that.
Yeah.
If you're a fan of him, I'm sure that'll be. I watched Nosferatu for the first time. You sent me it, didn't you, Alex? That's right.
Yeah.
And I definitely gonna go back and visit that during the Robert Eggers, but it was just the way the story was built was very strange to me. But I loved some of the horror elements in that, where he's rising up and stuff. That's just iconic, and I just love the charm of the film. It's a film with heart, so I'm interested to see what he does with that. But I'm gonna go revisit that when it comes out and review it on this channel, because I feel like I've got to review probably one of the first horror movies ever made. You got any there then, Jack, after you've been Googling?
Yeah, like you guys said, Scream 7 is one that I'm really looking forward to. The remake of Nosferatu by Robert Eggers, definitely. I believe they're doing a new Alien movie.
Yeah, that's right. I knew there was another
one. So definitely that. And they're doing a remake of Salem's Lot as well, I believe. And I'm really excited for that, because I watched the original a good few years ago, and I thought it was really good. So I'm looking forward to what they do with our remake.
Yeah, I'm sure that was meant to come out this year, and it just keeps getting pushed back. But interested to see that one as well. Yeah. What was the other one you said there, Jack? Just before Salem's Lot. Alien it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Fede Alvarez, I'm really interested to see what he can do with that, because I thought the Evil Dead remake was fantastic. So I seen someone complaining that it's going to feature a bunch of teenagers in this one. Well, young adults. And someone went, so it's just another Alien film with teenagers in then. But I think he'll knock it out the park like he usually does. I'd love him to do the new Nightmare on Elm Street as well, if we ever get one of them. But Tom 180 says, great stream, guys. Really enjoyed it. I hope you guys did too. Should we kind of wrap it up there then? Because I was going to talk about horror remakes as well, but I think we've covered enough here. Do you think?
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, it's fine.
So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to get down to Jack's channel down below in the description, everyone. Give him a subscription. And thanks for coming along, guys. Hope you enjoyed it.
It was great. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. Maybe next time when we get on, I thank you to everyone who put the comments in. Thank you so much. Maybe next time the channel might grow a little bit, and then there'll be even more comments. But I'd love to have you on again at some point, guys. If you ever want to come on, I'm only a message away anyway.
Definitely, man. It was good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great. Thank you.
No worries. Thanks so much, everyone, for coming along to this live stream. I hope you all enjoyed it. Everyone on the replay, thank you so much. Don't forget, if you are on the replay, leave a little comment down below, and I'll try and get back to you all, I promise, and give the video a little like. That would really help us out. Thanks so much. And like I said, don't forget to get over to Jack's channel. So thanks so much, everyone. You all take care. See you later.
See you guys.
See you.
Bye.